Do you really believe it? Do you think that the decision will actually be overturned and things will get set right in the sport of boxing?
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
I have my doubts. But what I really want to know is the outrage truly seeking justice for Lamont Roach? Or is it just a manifestation of hate for Gervonta Tank Davis? Let's talk about it.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? It's your boy, Dr. Boxing Talk, back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. As you can see, Lamont Roach is saying, hey, man, word on the street is that the decision, you know, for his controversial draw with Gervonta Tank Davis may get overturned in his favor and have a new victor. You know what I'm saying? And I have my doubts, man. And the reason why I have my doubts is because we haven't really seen this too many times. Now, the last time that I could think of a decision being overturned due to something other than PEDs or steroids or banned substance being used, of course, you know, with the banned substance, marijuana, right? When Keyshawn Davis beat Nahir Albright, well, he fought in the state of Texas and he tested for marijuana in his system. And now marijuana or weed or the herbal is not a PED, right? It's not a steroid. But in the state of Texas, where the venue was located in which he fought Nahir Albright, Keyshawn tested positive for marijuana. So the decision for his victory was overturned to a no contest. Later on, we also seen a similar thing happen with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, right? You know, that decision was overturned to no contest because Ryan Garcia tested positive for PEDs, and that's illegal, right?
We do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
Now, the only time, like I was saying before, that I could think of a decision being overturned and it didn't have anything to do with PEDs, the last time was Bernard Hopkins versus Chad Dawson. That's off the top of my head. I'm sure it probably happened at other times too. But the last time that I recall was when B-Hop fought Chad Dawson. He lost. I believe the original result was majority decision and Chad Dawson won, you know. But they changed the result because throughout the course of that fight, if you remember, Chad Dawson, boom, boom, boom.
I think, boom. To be great, and that's a tackle.
Bernard Hopkins on his shoulder and therefore injuring him. So then when they appealed it and they reviewed it, they saw, oh, hold on now, you know, this injury was due to Chad Dawson inflicted unnecessary and significant damage to Bernard Hopkins, which, you know, handicapped him for the duration of the fight. So that was changed to a no contest. It wasn't changed to a victory for B-Hop, but it was also changed to a no contest. So I think it would be, you know, unprecedented or a long time coming since we've seen a victor actually change, or sorry, when we saw a result actually change to have a new victor, which would be the case for Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach if the draw was turned to a victory for Lamont Roach. So I highly doubt that's going to happen, you know. And even to reinforce that, you know, the WBA president Gilberto Mendoza came out and said that he wants to have a rematch. And if you think about it, that is the proper course of action, at least historically and traditionally, right? Last time we just saw a controversial draw, a controversial decision with O'Shaquie Foster, Robson Conceição, right? In Robson Conceição's favor. I don't know how the heck he won that, but he did. And what did the what did the commission do? Which was, in that case, who was that? Was that the WBO? Sorry. With that case, it was the WBC, right? WBC, and the fight was on Top Rank Promotions, right? That wasn't changed at all. They just reviewed it and decided that immediate rematch was necessary, and they did that, and where O'Shaquie Foster turned it around in the ring. So that's what Gilberto Mendoza is saying for the WBA. He's saying, hey, man, we need a rematch to decide who the true victor is. So I don't anticipate that they will change the decision to a victory for Lamont Roach, but you never know with boxing, right? You know, when you're dealing with different commissions, different promotions, because this time it was, you know, WBA and PBC respectively, you know, WBA being the commission and then PBC being the promotional company. You never know how they might handle it. But like I said, I think an immediate rematch is the course of action. Now, let's talk about the knockdown, right? Let's talk about the knockdown, right? This was crazy, right? But it's not unprecedented, you know, despite what these goofy mouth ass clowns like Paulie Malignaggi and other content creators are saying, oh, this has never happened before.
Shut up, bitch. Oh my God.
No, missed calls happen. You know, were they screaming when Zhang Zhang's knockdown was missed? by the referee, where they blaming Zhilei Zhang. They say, oh, he tried to pull a David Blaine, an invisible cloak over the referee's eyes and hide that he should have been called a knockdown. No, the referee just missed it. So these things happen, you know, as recently as the week before on the Riyadh season card, and not to mention the draw between Carlos Adames and Hamza Shiraz, where was the outrage there? You feel me? So I'm not saying that Lamont Roach does not deserve that knockdown. Of course, that knockdown was a terrible missed call by the referee Stephen Willis, who's otherwise a fantastic referee. He just had a blunder twice. You know, he missed when Gervonta Davis took a knee, which regardless if it was a punch or not, you know, it took a knee and that should result in a knockdown. You know what I'm saying? So he missed that. And then he also missed when he interacted with his corner without the referee's consent. You know, that should have been called or at least warned. So it was definitely a missed call, but we've seen missed calls before. And, you know, AKA looking Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah, or, you know, the controversial call with Usyk and Dubois, right? To which, you know, it was appealed by Dubois and he didn't get to change the result. You see what I'm going there? So historically, I don't think the result will change. But speaking of that, man, I was on Twitter, you know, the cesspool for idiocy. And this guy was saying that, oh, if Lamont Roach appeals it, he's pulling a Devin Haney. Devin Haney's not the pioneer of appeals. You know, it's so funny that when that action happens and we don't like the fighter that it benefits, then all of a sudden we try to denounce the fighter or degrade the fighter. I think Tank beats Devin Haney. I have Tank over everybody, Shakur and everybody included. Yeah. But I don't hate any fighter. I like boxing, so naturally I like most boxers. You feel me? So I think the right thing should always happen. This is not the hood. This is not the street. The same rules that apply to this person should apply to everybody. So my question is this: if you're gonna call that the appeal Devin Haney style, shouldn't you call it Lomachenko style? Yeah. Because he appealed his decision against Devin Haney. Shouldn't you call him Miguel Cotto style? Yeah. Because he appealed his decision against Antonio Margarito with the loaded gloves. What about Artem Delakian style? Because he's appealed his decision loss, his first loss ever, to Seigo Akui. Yeah. Oh, but you don't know about that because you actually have to watch boxing and you actually have to be objective and you actually have to be consistent with your proclamations and your declarations. You dumbass. You know what I'm saying? So when you have selective outrage, it makes me not even respect you. You know what I'm saying? You're just one of those other idiots, AKA like Paulo Malignaggi. Paulo Malignaggi, I rock with him as a boxer, but as an analyst, he's just a jealous goofy when it comes to talking about Canelo and Gervonta Davis. The man called Lamont Roach a second-tier fighter.
Tank versus Lamont Roach tonight. Very non-competitive main event. And Canelo are basically the kind of guys that they could get away fighting the guy who on the corner over there at the red light goes around begging for change.
Like, Lamont Roach is a champion. He called him a second-tier fighter. These other goofies said Lamont Roach was going to lose in 2 rounds. But now that Lamont Roach had a good showing, a competitive showing like I said he would, I didn't think he would win. Now, I thought, you know, so I didn't think it would be a draw. I thought Tank would win, but I thought it was going to be a competitive fight. These guys discounted Lamont Roach, and now all of a sudden they're praising Lamont Roach. Nigga, you was a bitch! You see what I'm saying? That's just goofy. That's just goofy activity, especially when you come from a former boxer like Paulo Malignaggi, who should know better. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you come from a perspective of hate and jealousy, it manifests in your words, and you contradicted yourself. You can't then turn around and call Lamont Roach good after you just call this man who's a champion. In fact, he's a fighter on the same network in which you call, right? You commentate, you provide analysis for Pro Box. That was his last fight against Fago McCrory. You called him a second-tier fighter because that's how deep your hate goes for Gervonta Davis. Yeah. So my point is that a lot of people don't think that this is the biggest robbery in boxing. They don't have a problem with the referee missing the call, because if they did, they would have been outraged by Zhilei Zhang when he was the beneficiary of a missed call. If they did, then they would have been just as outraged when Carlos Adames and Shiraz ended in a draw. They would have been just as outraged when Johnny Fisher beat David Allen. You know what I'm saying? They would have been just as outraged when Oshiki Foster had a loss to Hobson Casesau. They would have been just as outraged when any call is missed. But what is Gervonta Davis? Now all of a sudden they're screaming for justice. They're parading for justice. Shout out to Gervonta Davis. Lamont Roach had a great showing, you know what I'm saying? And I do think that he should appeal it. Even though I like Tank, it's so easy for me to be objective. I think he should appeal it because the rules should apply for everybody. If Lamont Roach, what feels like the injustice was served, which an injustice was, because that should have been called as a knockdown, because a kneel, it doesn't matter if it was due to a punch or not. The fact that you take a kneel, it should be counted as a knockdown. That's the rules, bro. So that call was definitely a blunder by the ref, but it wasn't Gervonta Davis's fault that the ref messed up. So anybody blaming Tank, I just think you're dumb. as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous, man. But yeah, I definitely think that Lamont Roach should appeal it. I just don't think it will result in an overturn of a victory for him, you know, on his behalf. I think that they will call an immediate rematch historically, but we never know, man. Boxing moves with fluidity, right? And it could change, you know? So I definitely think that was a missed call. And according to the scorecards, we had 2 people that scored it a draw and 1 judge that scored it in favor of Gervonta Davis. On my scorecard, I scored it 8 rounds to 4 in favor of Gervonta, which reflects a score of 116-112. However, if you include the knockdown that should have been called in that 9th round, then my scorecard changes from 8-4 to 7-5. And then that when you include that 10-8 round, it would have been a draw, 114-114. That's why I say that I don't think the results was a robbery, because on my scorecard, it would have ended up being a draw anyway. However, forget my scorecard. The official scorecards of the judges, which is the only ones that matter. If you would include that knockdown, then Lamont Roach would have won. So by that standard, if he appeals and he gets the victory overturned in his favor, clap it up for Lamont Roach. That's what he should do. So I definitely support him appealing it, because the rules should apply for everybody, not just certain people from a different background, or not just certain people from a certain background, certain ethnicity, or certain look, or certain weight class, or certain popularity. No, the rules should apply for everybody. So if he wants to appeal it, good for him. I just personally don't think it will result in an overturn of the decision. I just think it will result in a rematch. And that's exactly what WBA president Gilberto Mendoza has already articulated what he was asked about it, according to the Ring magazine. You see what I'm saying? So anybody else that's saying, oh yeah, man, this has never happened before, missed calls never happened before. What happened with Terrence Crawford against Cain Velasquez? Didn't his knee touch the ground? That was considered a missed call, right? When Floyd Mayweather fought Zab Judah, his glove touched the canvas. That was considered a missed call, right? So it makes me question, like I said, you could just go back to a week ago on the best card ever in boxing, compliments of Big Turk and Riyadh season. That call with Zhilei Zhang and Ajit Kabayel was missed before Zhilei Zhang got knocked out. So if you want to say that this is the first time that you noticed it, say that. And then that also, by default, says that you don't actually watch boxing like you claim you do. So if you don't, you should...
Shut up, bitch!
Yeah, just like The Rock said, sit down and shut up, bitch. For sure. But yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I personally believe that the appeal will get viewed, and I don't think it's any knock on Lamont Roach. He should do that because the rule should apply to everybody. And if he feels that he was cheated, hell yeah, you should appeal it. You know what I'm saying? Whether I like Gervonta Davis or not, because I don't take away any credit from Lamont Roach, and Lamont Roach had a hell of a performance. And shout out to him, just like I thought it would be competitive. It was. I didn't think that it would be that competitive. Like I said, I thought it was gonna be competitive until it wasn't. I actually thought that Gervonta Davis would stop Lamont Roach late. I think I said between the 9th and 10th round. I said the 9th round. I thought it'd be competitive until Gervonta Davis got the knockout. I wasn't like these goofies though that called him a 2nd-tier fighter and called him and said that he was going to get stopped in 2 rounds because he couldn't handle the moment. And then now they're turning around and praising Lamont Roach just because of their hate for Gervonta Davis. You trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
I ain't gonna lie. Anybody that says that, whether you are a fighter, a former fighter, an analyst, or a content creator, or anywhere in between, you just a groupie to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have consistency. You just don't like a fighter so much that you just want the worst for that fighter. No, you should always want the best for the sport, and the best for the sport is always having the right person win and always having the rules apply. And this time the rules were not enforced properly, and Gervonta Davis should have definitely lost points for taking that knee in that 9th round for sure. And Lamont Roach deserves everything that he could get. You feel me? Especially a rematch, you know what I'm saying? Or in this case, maybe an overturn, and his case should be heard. That's what I think about it, man. Don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. This is why you rock with us, because we keep it objective, we keep it real, we keep it unbiased, we keep it educated and funny. And at the same time, we prioritize facts over feelings, unlike these little bitches.
Nigga, you's a bitch!
You know what I'm talking about? The doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.